Decides who wins it in the end if you can't make it count on the scoreboard?
Oh, I think by the end of the day, it is the scoreboard that will decide. And if you don't take your opportunities, it makes it much harder to play. So it was a pretty tight game of footy tonight, and as you said, and rightly so, Adelaide had plenty of opportunities in the second half. And like last week, we were able to find a way just to stay strong, and maybe tonight was a little bit of their inaccuracy that helped us. But I thought we stayed pretty strong again in a quarter where we gave up far too many entries.
That's 150 in 2 weeks.
A lot, isn't it?
Far too many, some would say. How are you reading it? What do you think has to be done to end it?
Oh, no, I think it's not the way we want to play footy. It's not our go to have to defend that many entries. And it won't survive if you continually give up that many entries. It's not the way to play. I think a lot of it tonight maybe was a bit of our inability to go from first possession to clearance and fumbled the ball a little bit too much. Credit to Adelaide again in tight. They'd certainly been... they wound up, but they don't need to be wound up. They're very good on the inside anyhow. So, it was just a little bit of our inability to handle pressure. And then some really poor turnovers, but that happens in a game. I don't worry so much about the turnover. I think they happen a bit.
Are they of your own creation where there seems to be that quick, hurried kick from just around a half back that seems to be going nowhere and ends up coming back in your face? Yeah,
if you're against a really good press team, and that's what Adelaide are, a really good press team, they'll structure up really well behind the ball. And when you try to quick kick out of your back 50, you tend to give up repeat entries, and that's what we've done the last quarter, last week, and a fair bit of tonight.
Forwards benefited from some pretty nice entry, though. I mean, how happy were you with the defence at the other end? You were saying.
Yeah, well, I thought that needed to be our bonus probably tonight with the size of their defenders we took in. I mean, we kicked 10 goals from our 3 talls, so and off 42 entries I think we've kicked 18 goals. So we were very efficient inside our forward 50, but we were lucky enough to hold up and keep them a little bit less so up the other end.
It's pretty nice to have a guy like Jay Shulls who barely misses.
Yeah, it's very handy. You like to think when he goes back that, well, you actually know most times he's going back, it's going through the middle, and we're talking about structure in the centre bounce. We're not thinking about him missing, so it's a nice, comforting way to be when you're the coach.
Robbie, he's got such confidence in his own kicking ability from anywhere inside 50 or even just out. How much confidence does that give a midfielder kicking it to him?
Yeah, it's great. We want to get the ball in his hands as much as possible, and he held a lot of good contested marks tonight, and when he's going to go back from, like you said, anywhere inside 50, he's a good chance to kick it, so we try and get the ball in his hands as much as we can.
What's it like to play a showdown with 2 ruckmen now?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously Paddy coming over, Paddy and Lobes are 2 very different ruckmen, so we can change things up in the midfield a little bit. Adelaide won their fair share of ball in there as well, though, so we've got a lot of things to work on.
The second showdown, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's a great honour, but we had lots of guys that played really good footy. It was a pretty even spread, and I thought our back line in particular stood up really well. Under enormous pressure, a lot of inside 50s against. So it was a good team effort across the board, I think.
How's the body feeling?
Yeah, the body's feeling great. No dramas, so got through fine.
What does this mean for the season?
Well, it's nice to go 3-2. It's obviously a big game for us. But we'll review the game now, and it's boring, but you can only sort of take it 1 week at a time. And we've got another challenge against West Coast next week, who are coming off a big win. So we'll review this and then start focusing on that.
Happy with your clearance work?
Yeah, reasonably happy, but like I said, we've still got a lot of areas to improve inside. They got their fair share as well, so we'll work on that during the week.
Kim, what was behind the decision to make Pollock sub today? Anything to do with the foot at all?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it was. I mean, we don't hide from that. We know Polly was carrying a bit of a foot, hasn't been able to train as much as we would like him to be able to train, and sometimes you need to artificially get him a rest. And we wanted him to play in the game. We thought he might be significant coming onto the ground late if we had that opportunity, and we're really pleased that we're able to. We've given him a round rest almost. We've given him only 20 minutes of footy. Hopefully that gives his foot a chance to recover again. And I make no secret that we may still have to give Polly a rest. Maybe a week or 2 that we has to have off. But we try to get a little bit of that tonight, knowing that he's still a pretty potent player when he comes on. And when you win, it looks okay. If had a loss, I'm sure people might have questioned it a bit more, but that's the way footy goes. You've got to make some decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it worked well tonight because you were able to give him that rest. But was it a risk? I mean, if he had to come on early, was it a risk to make him?
It was a risk leaving Robbie Gray out last week. It was a risk leaving Kane Corns out. They're all risks, and you live and die by those results sometimes. And it'd be easy to say that it worked or it didn't work, but by the result, we just got to make good decisions right through the footy season. That's a whole season we have to make those decisions based on. But yeah, there's always a risk in those decisions.
Ken, 2-part question. How do you read 3-2? And what does the first 5 weeks say about how you're going to build onto this for a season?
Oh, look, I'm really pleased with 3-2. I've got to say that. I mean, we were 0-2, obviously, and we've been able to bounce our way back into 3-2 off the back of playing high-quality opposition. I mean, we've played 4 of the best teams in the competition and possibly, along with the Bulldogs, the most improved side in the competition from last year in Adelaide. So we've had an incredibly hard start to the season, but one we're really comfortable with that'll hold us in good stead. Now we get to take on West Coast again next week, who, as Robbie rightly points out, who are in really good nick. So each week's really tough, each week's really hard. The position of the sides on the ladder sometimes makes you feel a little bit different, but for us internally it doesn't, because we know we've got to play at our absolute best to beat everyone.
So what have you learned of the group, and what have they learned from such a hard
Look, I know
start?
the group have learnt lots for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. They've learnt that there's some non-negotiables in football that you have to be able to be really strong, and if you're going to be a top team in the competition, and if you don't get that right, you run the risk. And we're still running the risk, by the way, in some of those areas. We know that and we understand that. So we've got to be prepared to turn back up and work again and identify the weaknesses and then try to fix them.
What are those areas?
I think the inside 50 count against is clearly one of them. And we can't play footy like that all year. People sometimes talk about, are we running as well as we were? I'll tell you what, we're running as well as we were, and maybe even better, because we're having to run from so far back. A lot of our work's done from back 50, and that's not the way you can play football or sustain football against quality opposition.
Is it fixable quickly?
Oh, it has to. Yeah, last year we were an elite defending inside 50s team. I think we averaged 43 or 44 entries a week against us over the whole course of the year. Well, we're miles off that at the moment, so there's lots of room to improve.
Is there a thought as to why it would change so dramatically? That's a dramatic move from being the best to now being one that's worrying you.
Oh, I don't know. It's a big move, but I think some of the stuff that we haven't been as clean as we'd like to be in contested situations. We haven't been poor in a lot of hardball stuff. We've been quite strong, but we just haven't been quite as clean as we want. And when the ball goes against you, it's a long way back. I mean, and sides are moving the ball really quick now. They all want to move the ball as quick as they possibly can, get it inside forward 50, because it's a territory game. It's the way everyone wants to play it, and that's what we try to play. And at the moment, we're not being able to hold up and stand up as well as we'd like in the 50-50 ball.
How are you finding it, Robbie? You were actually out there and feel that pressure of having to move the ball from defensive 50 to attacking 50, and it's changed with those inside 50 numbers against you. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a bit. We've had a pretty tough start to the year and played some quality teams, so they certainly make it a bit harder for you, I think. They've been really strong defensively, and probably looked at how we went about it last year and come out with plans to try and slow us down. So we know teams are trying to do that, but like Kenny said, we've got a lot of room for improvement, both defensively and offensively, and that's what we'll be looking to do.
We always ask where a team's placed, Ken. Where do you genuinely think you are?
I could say they're still at 3-2, and I don't even know where it puts us on the ladder at 3-2. I've got no idea.
But you've got a vision of what you want from this group.
Yeah, I think we're a long way off where we absolutely want to be, but I think most teams at the start of the year would probably say that. Look, we've played another great side tonight, and the Crows are a really strong team, and we understand that. We give them great credit, and we just got to respect the opposition a little bit more, I think, and make sure that we don't. I'm not saying us as Port Adelaide, I'm saying the competition, the media that say, where are we, what are we? We're playing against high-quality opposition. We're not quite getting it done the way we like, but you have to give them that credit. That's what they're doing so well. I mean, we give up the entries. Adelaide created them. Fantastic by them to create such entries. And, Dangerfield was outstanding again tonight as far as clearances and stuff goes. So sometimes you just got to hold up. I reckon that's really good for us that we've shown now over a couple of weeks that we can actually hold up under real pressure coming at our backs. And we've been able to restrict sides. I mean, again, what they score, 91 points with 72 entries. Hawthorn last week, I think, nearly the same score, of 79 entries. So if you can defend that way, if we can actually turn it the other way, it's going to hold us in pretty good stead.
So what you're really saying is this competition's got even tighter again,
it's tight as it's ever been, I reckon. The competition's closed up, no doubt about that. The bottom sides from last year have improved. The top sides from last year have probably tried to maintain their position, but there's, the competition's closed up. There's no doubt about it. Every week, I don't know how your tipsters go, trying to predict a winner or a loser. It's tough.
So what's it then say of your physical? We keep talking about Darren Burgess and what he's done to make this group ready. If you can survive 5 weeks at 3-2, 5 really demanding weeks, what's it saying about how you're physically ready for AFL footy?
We have to be, because that's why everyone has a pre-season that we do. It's to prepare you for that type of stuff and be able to but you've got to do it for the whole 22 now, and there's still a long way to go in this footy season. But right at the moment, we're in pretty good shape. We haven't got too many injuries. We've got Ollie basically missing from the list. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. A couple of younger boys who have got some injuries. And Morey out suspended, who's got one more week to go. So once that's over, we've looked after Robbie last week and hopefully got our squad in pretty good shape.
Do you want to pay credit to Alapata Carlisle to major jobs he's had to do against 150 inside 50 entries and given up, 3 goals?
One of the real good fullbacks, isn't he? Bobby is one of the real good fullbacks, and he's always shown that. And he's just, he's mature. He's at that stage in his career that he's very comfortable with what he has to do and what the team does, and he holds up in big contests. That's what's really important. And he gets, as you said, he's playing on great players every week. There's a fair bit of pressure getting directed his way.
Tringove out as this substitution change, was it tactical or concern?
No, just tactical. We just felt like all whole night we were wary that we may have been a little big down back.
Okay.
And we made that, and we wanted to bring run into the side at the right time. We were comfortable with our 2 rucks. We wanted to make sure they were staying out there, so we just wanted to go a little bit smaller and have a bit more run right at the end of the game, which didn't have big influence on the game either way, I don't think.
Eddie Betts seems to
play well against
something
us.
Against Port Adelaide.
He plays well, Eddie. I wouldn't mind him, Rob. I'm sure I wouldn't mind having him on our side at some stage. But he's a fantastic player. Has been for all his career. And got to say, when we're not playing against him, I quite enjoy watching Eddie. I like watching Tex play. They play some exciting type of football. But I just wish he didn't do it all the time against Port Adelaide.
Thank you all. Thanks.